Once, I'm happy to be standing before you. It is time for English. Thank you for always attending the lessons, and thank you for always listening to me. Please drop each and everything you're doing and pay attention to the teacher. It is time for English. Take this program serious. You have already seen the test, and more exams are coming besides the test. So when it is time for learning, let it be learning. In our lesson today, we are going to read a story. We are going to read a story. We are still under the theme, our weather. We are still under our weather. In our last lesson, what did we last look at before we read the story? Or before we learn how to read and comprehend? Very good. We looked at the tenses. And we said a tense is the time when an action takes place. We looked at the everyday tense, the present continuous tense or now tense, and the yesterday tense or past tense. Now in this lesson, we are going to read the story. Yes, our theme is our weather. The sub-theme is effects and management of weather. Yes, weather. What are the effects of weather when it overrains? What comes? What do we get out of the rain? And how can we manage weather? When it is raining, which clothes can we put on? How are we supposed to dress? How are we supposed to manage the weather, the rainy, the sunny, the windy, and the cloudy? Okay? That is management of weather. Comprehension. Comprehension. Let's pay attention. We are going to read a story. Why do we always read stories? The stories help us to learn how to speak English. Secondly, the story helps us to learn how we can express ourselves, how we can be confident. Do you want to be confident or you want to be shy? When you cannot stand before a big group and talk, my dear, learn how to read. Yes? Reading the story will help you to be fluent, being confident, and learning how to pronounce and read the words. Read the story and in full sentences answer the questions about it. Yes? Kato is a farmer. In the wet season, he plants crops like beans, maize, and cassava. In the dry season, he harvests the crops and takes them to the market for selling. Are we together, my children? Should I repeat for you? Very good. But in my repeating, please observe me or listen to me carefully. When you are reading the story, how to observe the punctuation marks. Do not read as if you're rapping. Kato is a farmer in the wet season, he plants. No, observe the punctuation marks. I mean the full stops and the commas if you want to be a good reader. Read the story and in full sentences answer the questions about it. Kato is a farmer. In the wet season, he plants crops like beans, maize, and cassava. In the dry season, he harvests the crops and takes them to the market for selling. Have you heard me taking your breath? Where you heard me taking a breath, just know that either there is a comma or a full stop. So if you want to learn how to read, observe those punctuation mark. Do not overlap. Yes? Now that is our short story. In this story, they are saying Kato is a farmer. Who is a farmer? A farmer is that person who grows crops and keeps animals. Yes? What else is new? Wet season. When you talk of wet season, that is the season when there is too much rainfall. For example, if it rains every day, that season is known as a wet season. Are you together, children? I'm trying to explain the words here, which will be hard for you. He plants crops. Planting Planting is growing, putting something in the soil, that is planting. Yes, in wet season. We have another season known as the dry season. Here maybe they have talked of only one season. We have the wet season and the dry season. In the wet season we expect too much rainfall. In the dry season there is too much sunshine. When the sun shines too much almost every day, yes, that season is known as a dry season. Yes, yes, it is even there, dry season. Harvests. Harvest is picking the ready crops from the garden. For example, if you planted your beans, yes, and the beans are ready for taking home, you go with either a basket or a wheelbarrow, and you pick those things from the garden, you transport them to your home. That is harvesting, picking ready crops from the garden. Yes. What else is new here? Market. Market is that place where we can sell our produce. Yes, if you planted the beans or cassava or what, you can take them to the market and sell them. That place where you sell them is known as a market. And selling. You know, selling, you receive money from the person who wants the good and you give that person the goods. That is selling. What else is new here? Let me read the story for the last time. Kato is a farmer. In the wet season, he plants crops like beans, maize, and cassava. In the dry season, he harvests the crops and takes them to the market. After a story, always expect the questions. Comprehension means that you read the question, interpret the question, and you put there the correct answer. Our first question here says, who is the farmer? According to our story here, who is the farmer? They are looking for the name of that person. Yes? Who is the farmer? In our story here, the story says Kato is a farmer. So our answer is going to be, who is the farmer? Kato. Kato with a good handwriting. Kato is the farmer. You always begin with a capital letter and end with a full stop if at all you're writing a sentence. Our second question says, write the two seasons in the story. Yes, that is, I've forgotten a full stop, sorry. Write the two seasons in the story. Let's go back to the story. Always when they give you a story and the questions, get the answers from the story. Kato is a farmer. In the wet season, he plants crops like beans, maize, and cassava. In the dry season, he harvests crops and takes them to the market for selling. They are talking about the seasons. Have you heard of the seasons? Very good. Which seasons are those? Wet. When they say write, you just write. Don't use a sentence. We have wet season. Then we have dry season. When they say write, you just write the answer. Do not sentence it. Yes? Write the examples of food in the story. We have as many examples of foods. But when we are answering the story, we get the answers from the story. Kato is a farmer. In the wet season, he plants crops like beans, maize, and cassava. So your answer, I expect you to write beans, maize, and cassava. Do not get the food outside the story. Get the foods mentioned in the food mentioned in the story. In English, you don't have foods, we have food. Foods is in science. Draw Kato digging in the garden. Do not draw someone standing. A person digging has to be bending. In that action, bending, but you draw me a person standing. Draw Kato digging. My beloved one, when you're reading this story, please read the story, understand and comprehend well. Not only this one, but all stories' answers are got from the story if at all there are questions. Don't remove the question from outside. Are we together? I love you so much. Please read and understand. Answer using the good handwriting. Let's meet in the next lesson.